CCC family, it's Dawn Marie with Custom Comfy Crochet, and today we're going to learn how to make this beautiful stitch. It's called Petit Pois in French, which literally translates to little peas. So that's this stitch. It is really easy, super beginner friendly, and it's a lot of fun. So I'm using a 5mm hook for this, and this is a lightweight 3 yarn. So for this stitch, it's really important that you go up about a half to a full size in your hook, and that's what's really going to make this stitch lovely. Of course, you can use any yarn and any hook that you want, but I'm just telling you that this really does make a difference. I tried it both ways. So just go ahead and use that bigger hook to make it look absolutely lovely. This stitch is quite often used to make baby blankets, but it's also used to make anything, placemats, purses, anything you can think of, anything your imagination can allow you to make, you can use this stitch for. Okay, so let's get into the tutorial. Okay, so let's begin with a slip knot, and then for this, you're going to want to chain an odd number for whatever project you're working on. Just start with an odd number like 1, 3, 5, and so on. Okay, so after you get that odd number, you're into the very next stitch. You're going to pull up a loop, and into the next, you're going to pull up a loop. You've got 3 loops, go through all 3 loops. And then you're going to go right back into the stitch you just put your last loop into, then go into the next and pull up a loop and go through all 3 loops. Into the same stitch you just worked into, pull up a loop, and in the next stitch, pull up a loop, go through all 3 loops. And that's all this stitch really is. It's that simple. Okay, so again, all I want you to remember is that you're basically working into this last stitch that you worked into. So you can see I'm going back into that stitch, pulling up a loop, and then going into my next stitch and pulling up a loop. I'm not going through anything, just pulling up loops, then going through all 3 loops, okay? So you just keep doing that all the way down, and this isn't gonna change really. I just need to show you something to keep this straight at the end of the 3rd row. So we're gonna keep doing this together for a little while so that you can see it. And then when we get to the end of the 3rd row, I'm going to show you what to do to keep this project from kind of curving, okay, because it likes to do that because you're technically decreasing. So you want to add a stitch at the end, and I'm going to show you exactly what to do for that. So again, just keep going till you get to the end. When you get to the end, you're going to go through that same stitch and then through the last one, pull up loops, pull through. And this is what it looks like. And you're going to notice those little peas popping up soon. So chain 2 and turn your work. Go into this very first stitch, pull up a loop. Go into your next stitch, pull up a loop, go through all 3 loops, then go through the one you just worked in and the next, pull through all 3 loops. And again, you'll continue doing that all the way down. You will chain 2 and turn for every row that you do from here on out. Okay? So again, working in that same stitch, that's the thing you don't want to forget, because you're immediately going to want to go to your next stitch. So that's the main thing to remember for this, is you're going to be working in that last one you just did. And sometimes even I, as I'm working, because I'm so used to going into my next stitch, will miss it, but I'll immediately pick it up and go back. Okay? So just again, working in that same stitch, pulling up a loop, going to the next, pulling up a loop, going through all 3. And then I'm getting close to the end here. But I need to remember that this last stitch is definitely one to work into. So remember to pull up in the one you just worked into and then into the last stitch and go through your 3 loops. Chain 2 and turn. And now we're on our 3rd row, and this is at the end of this row that I want to show you what to do to keep it from curving, okay? But again, going into this first stitch, pulling up a loop, into the next, pulling up a loop, going through all 3. Work in the same stitch you last worked into, pulling up a loop, and then in the next, pull up a loop, and go through all 3. And right here, I just want to show you this is what you would possibly do. You would just want to go into this next stitch, but make sure you go into the one you just worked into. And I'm sorry I keep repeating myself, but it really is just the main thing to remember for this. Otherwise, it's just so easy. So we're just working back down this 3rd row here, pulling up loops, remembering to go into that same stitch, going through all 3 of our loops. And then when we get to the end here, we're going to actually work an extra stitch to keep this from, like I said, from going lopsided on you. Okay, so we just worked our last stitch here, and as you can see, you can kind of tell at this point that you need to put another stitch, okay, because you don't want it to veer off. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to go right into this little space right here at the very end. You can see I'm pulling it out. You're just going to go right into there, wherever you can find, doesn't have to be perfect. Pull up a loop, and then you're going to go down into the first row, and you're going to go into that little space right there, those 2 loops. You're going to pull through there, pull up, and then go through all those loops and chain 2. And then you're going to repeat exactly what I've been showing you. You're going to go into your first stitch, and you're going to pull up a loop, and then you're going to go into your next stitch and pull up a loop. So you're going to be working right under that chain of 2. Pull up a loop, go through all 3. And then you would just keep doing this all the way down, and this stitch is so great. So you can see how easy it is. Just a lot of fun, really easy to work. So we're at the end of this 4th row, and I just want to show you again where to go. Go into this last stitch here, pull up a loop, then go into your previous row, go to those where you see those 2 loops, pull up a loop, pull it up high, and then go through all your stitches, and then pull up 2, and then turn and repeat. Okay, so you can see those little P's popping out now, and you can see it even more as you go on, as you can see. And then you can see how when you do that stitch at the end, it really keeps your sides really straight, really even, and it's going to make it really easy as you continue on with your blanket. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, comments, or anything, of course, you can ask below in the YouTube comment section, but I also have a Gmail, and I have a TikTok and a Facebook and all those things, Instagram. So find me there too. Happy crocheting. Bye-bye.